Hi Super Soul Sisters, and today we're talking about what and how shoes. So not what the hell, what and how. So great ones to have to be aware of at any rate. Okay, I often say to people, it's not the what, it's the how. Okay, that's important. So it's getting clear on how you're delivering messages rather than what it is sometimes that you're saying. Now sometimes it is what you're actually saying. Sometimes it is, how maybe that is, you're saying certain things in a certain way because that is what you want to do and get it across that way. But sometimes, when you present a message and you find it's actually not working and you've triggered people, it may have been how you delivered it. So I often say this, to people who they lash out. They've reacted, they've had what I call a state of upset. They've reacted to whatever that trigger is that's made them go, that didn't make me feel good. And they just go, wow, and it just all comes out, right? And it's like, oh, damage is done, right? I've really, just really ticked that person off. And it's like, you know what, the how could have perhaps been worked on a little bit better. So quite often I like to break that down. It's like the what is it that person was getting upset about, and then I look at the how. So how was that delivered? So for example, let me have a think about something. Okay, say your boss has a go at you at work, okay? And it's like they're not happy about a project that you've done, for example, okay, or that person's done. And they've now come in and just roared at you like, what the hell? They've just gone right off the deep end at me. And it's like, ding, 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 and it's like, you didn't do this project right, and you didn't do it on time, and we've now lost money, and, we're going to, it's just, you've cost the company some business here, or a lot of money now, and, we could lose the client, and da-da-da, and, you're a loser, and what kind of person are you? You should get sacked. I mean, okay, I'm getting a little bit carried away here. Let's just slow down, lady. Okay, now, all right. Obviously, if you're not expecting that, you've now had this reaction to this, oh my goodness, like if you're an internal frame of reference person, you might go whatever. But if you're an external frame of reference person, okay, and those are shoes, that I've spoken about before, and you go, wow, you know what, I have had a bit of a reaction to that, and and you might onboard all of that stuff and go, well, actually, do you know what, that is true. Yes, I am useless. Oh, I'm awful. Oh, maybe I should just leave. It would just be a lot better if I was never here. And I don't think I should do anything because it paralyzes you, because you get yourself into this downward spiral, right? So what you look at is what was being said. Okay, so in that scenario, I would look for the facts. I'd go, right, okay, he said or she said X, Y, Z about your work. Is that in fact true? Yes or no? So you just go straight to the facts, find out exactly yes, and then you validate. You use your monitor shoes. Remember those monitors, like you're gauging the process of something. You can also monitor, like when people are throwing things at you, is that is that in fact correct? If it's correct, then fair call, but don't be accountable when accountability is not due, so go, is that a balanced rhetoric, or is it that they've just got into the spiral of like how they've just gone off their rocket, and it's like, oh, actually, no, that is disproportionate, like for the what they're actually saying and what's actually happened, it seems out of proportion. It's dramatically out. So you can get clarity, you got your, your owl and your super owl shoes on as well, where you're going, looking at it from an observer's point of view. What do I need to see here? What's the assessment here? Is that in fact correct? Don't, challenge it, you got to have your, Sherlock shoes on, you've got to go, well, is that correct? Don't just onboard it unless it's actually true, right? So when we start getting that clear, it's like, okay, what they said, maybe it is correct. Maybe that you did do a big botch up. Who knows, you know? In that case, say, yeah, fair enough. Then we look to the how shoes. How was that message delivered? Well, they went off their rocker. What are the chances of that person being happy? What are the chances of that motivating a person? What are the chances of them wanting to continue working for that person if they keep treating them like that? Or I would say are slim to zero, okay? But here's the thing. Maybe the how is like that because they might be a power number in the Enneagram and you go, oh, okay, they're just doing their 8 thing, you know? Or it might be that they're an imbalance 3 and it's just like they just want to so desperately succeed and be the top and win that they, you know, came second place with that project or whatever. And now they're looking for a scapegoat. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a 1 saying it's not done perfectly, you know, in the Enneagram, the I am right shoes. So you can look back on these videos if you haven't already. Or you know what you might want to do? Look, we're going to be working on that. We're creating I'm going to look at creating an e-booklet about the Enneagram just to make it easy for you guys. You know, so that you can get this in written format as well, so that you can go, right, okay, a 1 does this and that. But there's a lot of information in the Facebook group as well that supports all of this. It's not just the video. If you're in YouTube, you might want to join the Facebook group and get more information on this, because when you get that there's certain personality types that have a propensity for this, then you find that it's not a personal thing. And then, you know, when you've got your owl shoes on, or, you know, your observer shoes on, or your monitor shoes on, you can start going, okay, it takes you out of the feeling. That's one thing. And it gives you more control the second that you do that. And you go, is that accurate? Yes or no? It gives you the ability to assess the situation to determine whether that is in fact correct, yes or no. So how they delivered it is like, okay, could there be something else that's making them spiral so out of control? That's really what we're doing. We ask the question, and I'm going to, actually, I think I'm going to do that, and I'll make note of that after this. How to ask better questions. Ask questions that are really going to help shift it where you can get more emotionally resilient, right? Where you could handle that better. So it's like, oh, you subsequently find out that actually they had a big divorce that day, or, you know, in his life, or that, you know, his mother or her mother got hospitalized, so is overreacting about something that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Okay, so when you start get your facts, getting your facts straight, you know, it's not just the what. So we look at the what, and we do the small chunking. We get our little shoes on, little, you know, shoe wearing shoes on, and we chunk down and we look at exactly what are the facts, and not loose facts, like the facts, specific, like at this time on that day, what happened, what exactly did they say, not generally, exactly what was said. And then go, right, did I read too much into that? Okay. And then, so it's the what, and then you look at the how. So they're 2 separate pairs of shoes. Okay. So that's how you're assessing somebody else's, but sometimes you've got to do it for yourself. Okay, what I said and how I said it, maybe it could have been done separately. Sometimes I need to have my what. Sometimes I do mean to say what I need to say so that I can correct it. And you know, I'm meaning to be direct, but maybe how I could do it will be better if so for example, if I've got my flexible shoes on and I'm talking to an internal frame of reference person who is a hard shoe wearer, who likes it just to be told straight up how it is. The way that my what and how would be very different in that scenario to someone who wears shoes opposite to that. So for example, I would say, you know, if I was a boss or whatever, sometimes they just need it. Do you know what? You messed up on that project. It has cost us money. I'm not happy about it, mate. Now, I'd like to say that I am, but I'm very sorry, I'm not, you know, and that, how can we actually change that so that, you know, doesn't happen again? Okay, those shoe types, wearers will handle that, okay, whereas that same message presented in the what and how that's presented to someone who is an external frame of reference person, who it matters what people think of them and how they say stuff. That could really make them implode. That can make them paralyze them and upset them and get depressed, so that they don't land up working. And now you've actually, you know, spazzed. You shot yourself in the foot, haven't you? You know, because you're not going to get them motivated to do something. So you have to change the way that you're doing it. Your what and your how is really key. So, you know, you've got to change your language. You don't use the hardener language, you use the softener language. And I think I talked about this with the hard and softener shoes. And I might, you know, present, you know, that as well, you know, specific exercises maybe that you can go, oh, okay, that's how I can adopt that kind of language. If it's not your map of the world, you'll find it uncomfortable to talk in that language because it's not your natural leaning, it's not your natural wiring. So to be flexible, you have to have your flexible shoes on, you have to learn it, and then you have to change your language so that it's going to be presented in a way that's going to motivate them, not demotivate them. So you will change the way, and if you have thrown it out there because you've had a reaction, you can also then go back to that person and say, do you know what? How I said that wasn't great. And you know, own it, be accountable for that. You know, don't push it away, don't ignore it. You know, take it on board and go, do you know what, I could do that different, I could do that better next time, and I'm just telling you I'm sorry, and I will do that next time. I will at least try to, you know. So that then makes it healthier for the relationships that you have in your life as well, because they can see that you're trying to come to the party to make a difference, to change the way that you previously would have upset them. So my question to you, I've gone over today, haven't I? My question to you is, you know, what your what and how shoes, can you think of an example of someone that, you know, they have not worn good what and how shoes? What happened? How did they deliver? Break it down, okay? If that upsets you, get clear on what it is, so that you can now go, okay, what shoes could I put on that I can then, if that happened to me next time, I'd be more emotionally resilient, I'd be more stable and less affected by my circumstances. How bonus is that? Like, so key, right? Little gem, fantastic. Now on the other side, maybe it's something you've done. So maybe you've had a Barney with a person that you care about or whatever, and go, you know, I wanted to say it, I wasn't happy about that, but how I delivered it just wasn't so key. Or, you know, and again, do the same exercise, but how can you change your behavior? Because it's not just about changing someone else's behavior. You can't really change other people's behavior. You can ask them to, but, you know, it's being clear about what it was that affected you, and also how you affect others. So it's one's coming in and one's going out. Okay. So, you know, steps in and steps out. Okay. So hope you found that useful. Most people do, and I find this really, really useful in management. Huge. Like if you're a manager, or if you run your own business, or you're in any kind of relationship sort of management kind of role, and you know, as a mother you will be anyway if you've got kids, this is so key, because you get so clear. I now go, right, you know, yes, no, that I understand what they were trying to get at, how they worked on it, didn't work for me, I won't take that on board. Whereas before, that would have downward spiraled me. Okay, now if it can do at least that one little thing for you, bonus, we've had a key. Well, it was worth doing this video. Right, so if you found that useful, please say so. Could you let me know, give me some feedback? It would be really great. And if you're having any particular challenge, feel free to DM me in the Vicki Jane Facebook group and just go, you know, what and how, and then tell me what the issue is, and I'll pick it up in the Shoes Off What's Really Going On sessions, where I'm looking to go live or do recorded sessions answering people's questions, so that we get clear about, you know, how we can actually implement these things moving forward if you're struggling to do it yourself. Thank you so much. Namaste. Have a great day.